Right, the first walk in the series is the Crompton Circular, number 1. The clue is in the title. It's a circular walk. It starts and finishes at the same point, which is the Manor Farm pub off Mill Lane, Rainhill Stoops, Merseyside. You can get to it by public transport, the 289, the St Helens Circular, or the 61, which travels from Liverpool to Widnes and Widnes to Liverpool. At the moment, everything's on a reduced service, and the 289 doesn't run on a Sunday anyway. So I'll give you the best times I can, but check them yourselves if you are watching this film at some later date. The walk itself is very flat. The highest thing you're going to climb is Pex Hill, which is only 300 feet above sea level. And we started at 200 feet above sea level. So it's not energetic. And there's a mixture of countryside and a bit of urban. And you pass through Cronton Hall and the barn conversions, which are quite nice.
Right, the area that we're walking in is in the Rainhill area of Merseyside, around about here, which is between Manchester and Liverpool. Now I'll just zoom in down to Rainhill Stoops. This is the Rainhill Stoops area here. This is the M62 motorway. And we're going to go along to the start point of the walk, which is the Manor Farm, adjacent to the Manor Farm pub off Mill Lane. And you can see there's a bus stop right next to it there, and there's another one over the road. That's the 289 Rainhill Circular route. The timetable will be shown later. And that's the 61 Liverpool to Widnes route. That's the bus stop from Liverpool, and that's the bus stop from Widnes. You get off the bus stop, walk down Warrington Road, turn right along Mill Lane, alongside the pub, and the footpaths down this side of it here. Now the footpath heads off in this direction towards the motorway. Now I'm not going to show all of the film of all of the footpath, because otherwise you'll be bored to tears. So a lot of this section here is not filmed until we get to the bridge. We cross the motorway bridge here, then I'll film that section there, showing you the footpath up here towards the sewage works, or the old sewage works. This is where we turn right back onto another public footpath, down the side of the old sewage works, and then we come across this field here, across this bridge, and we start to climb up Pex Hill. It's not a very steep climb, and around about here is where the kissing gate is, with the gate missing. We come up here, and then we pass between the reservoirs, and the Layton Observatory is here on the right hand side. We enter the country park, and we go around the quarry along this path here, and that's the entrance to the quarry I mentioned. Then we go down Mill Lane till we get to the outskirts of Crompton village. So we go around the roundabout here and turn right onto Mill Lane. We carry on and go down a bit of a dip here, and there's Cronton Hall, so we turn right onto the footpath up here. It's a roundabout here where you can see the horse eating the hedge. And we jump in the filming right up to this path, to this point, cross the bridge again, and then we retrace our steps back to the Manor Farm. And it's just over 3 miles, and the climb's not that steep. We're using the app Moovit to plan our journeys. This is the start page, and the next few screens will show you the specific details of which public transport's available to get you to the start of the Cronton walk. This shows you the journey from St Helens on the 289 to Rainhill Stoops. Another option is to get the 17, getting off at Wilmere Lane, and then getting the 61 to Rainhill Stoops. This is a suggested route from Liverpool, which is to get the train from Lime Street Station and then get off at Rainhill and get the 289, or you can get the 61 all the way, and that third option is to get off at Rainhill Station and walk to Rainhill Stoops. And this is the route from Widnes, taking the 61, or the 17, and then walking along here to Rainhill Stoops. We can plan our journey to Lincoln Way, which is adjacent to the Manor Farm, and the first solution it comes up with is the 289 from St Helens, or it gives you the alternative of taking the 16, or it gives the alternative of taking the 17 from St Helens and then catching the 61, or you can get the 17 and then just walk, taking it from the city centre. It now gives you the option of getting the train, or the 61, or the train and go for a walk. And the options from Widnes are the 61, or the 17 with a walk, or the 6, the 26 and a walk, which is a bit of a convoluted way of going around things. So there's all the options that you've got to get to the start point of this particular walk.
Good morning, it's Wednesday the 15th of April 2020. We're entering our 4th week of lockdown. This morning we're going to walk on the path from Rainhill Stoops over Pex Hill. We're actually starting the walk now at the side of the Manor Farm pub, which was converted from a farm about 20-25 years ago. And unfortunately it's shut at the moment. When it's open it's worth visiting because inside it is the old well, and they also allow dogs in the newly built conservatory. That's if it opens again after the shutdown. Okay, we'll just walk into the garden of the Manor Farm just to show you what it's like in normal times. There's the pub. There's a nice beer garden round the back, the children's play area. So now we're going to set off and do our walk. Well, there's plenty of people about because we're quite near to the built-up area of Rainhill, and everyone's doing their one session of exercise as allowed for by the government. These public footpaths are quite ancient. Public rights of way marked as a green dot on the map, and they're protected under the rights and under the Highways Act, that you can't change them, block them up or alter them without a bylaw being made. And the local council, if somebody wants to alter the footpath, the local council has to inform all the relevant parties interested, such as the Ramblers Association, and they will say yes, you can alter the footpath as long as there's a viable alternative, or no, you can't. A lot of people, especially homeowners where the path passes through their property and has done for probably 1,000 years, think to try and block it up. They think that if nobody goes over it from within a 12-month period, then you can close that footpath. Well, it's not true. Those type of paths are called concessionary paths, and they're marked in brown hashes on the Ordnance Survey map, and normally as a concession of the landowner, where he allows people to walk under severe limitations. In other words, it's not a public right of way, and they normally close them one day a year so that nobody can go over them, and it's normally Christmas Day. But this path, as I've said, is green dashes. It's a public right of way and can only be altered by a bylaw. Now, for instance, up ahead of us you can see the bridge over the motorway. Now, people who build motorways or any other structures like this would love to close the footpath, because then they don't have to build the bridge. And I can imagine the extra expense it's taken to build that bridge over the motorway. But they've had to build that because the local council and the local walking groups would not have allowed them to close the footpath. So we've got the people who trespassed on Kinder Scout back in the 1930s to thank for this, who established within law that rights of way stay where they are. Now we're going to divert off the path here now. The public footpath goes away to the right down there and leads to Cronton, but we're going to take this path here to the left towards those trees over there, which is where the old Rainhill sewage works used to be. That's actually a public footpath there as well, but we'll be joining up with it on this farm track. We're now coming up to the service road to Rainhill sewage works, which closed down about 30 years ago, maybe longer, and they replaced it with a pumping station. We're now back on a footpath. This one comes from the roundabout, junction 7, and will eventually go over the top of Pex Hill. Right, we can see the ascent up to the top of Pex Hill now. One of the highest points around. Now, coming into view at the top of the hill is number 1 Reservoir, which feeds the Widnes area and has been here since at least 1842, because it appears on the map of that period. Reservoirs are put on tops of hills so that you only have to pump the water into them once, and then the water for drinking is gravitated out to the whole area. Someone's nicked the gate off the stile, which is just as well, because you couldn't get your bike through it otherwise. And then this house on the right we're coming up to now, which you'll only see the roofs of, is the old Reservoir keeper's cottage. It was a bit run down a few years ago and it was done up. You used to be able to see it, but the hedge is in the way now. So this here on the right is Layton Observatory. You can see the dome of it there. The fence ahead of us is the edge of Pex Hill quarry, which will have a peak over the top. It's quite a popular rock climbing venue, and there's signs on the fence saying don't tie your ropes on here, just in case. Now we're at the top of the quarry at the moment, and what we'll be doing is we'll be walking around the side of it, and there's actually an entrance into it at the bottom as used as an amenity. So can we see very much from this position? I'm not sure. We'll see some more of the quarry as we go further around. Oh, here's a nice viewpoint. So you can see more of Liverpool now in the distance. Walton Hill. It's a nice day today, but a bit hazy for long distance viewing. Oops. Probably get a nicer view into the quarry from here. So there's Pex Hill Quarry. This is one of the danger signs. See the quarry as we're going past. It's quite pleasant in there on a summer's day. A lot of people picnicking there. There's the entrance to it here. Now this is the old route out of this quarry. This is called Mill Lane, this. There probably was, and I've not seen any evidence to it because it's covered up by the reservoirs. But there's probably a windmill on the top of Pex Hill. Logical place for it, because it would catch the wind in any direction. So more than likely before the quarry was built, this used to be the access to the windmill. So we're going up the public footpath now, which goes through the side of the hall and the old farm buildings, which have now been converted to nice little homes. How do? So these old barns on the right were converted to homes about 15 to 20 years ago. There's a very unusual one round the corner. See if we can get a shot of it. Now that building there was originally just an open barn. And about 10 years ago they built within it the living accommodation. Looks rather nice, doesn't it? Good idea. You're supposed to be eating that bush horse. You enjoying that? That's a hawthorn, that. I thought it would be rather spiky. You're also a tough old mouth horse. You're going to eat your way through the hedge and escape. We'll be gone by then. You can see Rainhill coming ahead of us. It's an absolutely beautiful day. We're starting to get back to where we started now. Walking up the farm track / footpath up to the Manor Farm. Here we are, back where we started.